Good evening, afternoon, morning. Welcome back to Play the Hits. We are going to continue our run through of NieR Automata for the glory of mankind. Chris, how's it going tonight?
Good morning, Japan. How's the future?
How's the future? How's it one day in the future?
How's it one day in the future?
I mean, they're gonna be. It's gonna be the new year pretty soon.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess.
That's right. Yeah, it just dawned on me. You're absolutely right. For them, it's practically fucking 2025. Hey, what's up, Sparks?
Sparks.
And then, well, and then you've got another January 6th coming up.
Hey, oh yeah. Oh god.
You know, the only thing that makes me slightly happy is that Jimmy Carter got to flip one last bird to Donald Trump.
Wait, how so?
Well, but his funeral's on the 9th, so, like, that's going to overshadow his... Though, actually, did you see that they're turning on McCarthy now? And they might... If they, like, oust him so close to... to certifying the results of the election, they might not actually be able to do that on the 6th, which would be a historical first because of all the chaos he creates.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they will find someone, and that they'll make it happen. But the fact that it's even a question is just kind of emblematic of what we can expect for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Like, I mean, gosh. The January 6th, what was that, 2021?
Yeah.
That happened? It's already been like...
Well, 2020.
4 years. Wait.
No.
So
right.
there's the...
No,
2021.
No, you're right, I'm wrong. 2021.
No, it's all good.
Your timing is impeccable.
I was thinking, no, if this is January 6, 2024, then it had to have been 20. Nope.
The resistance is
I'm
assisting with the
stupid.
mission. So I'd like to ask you to run
That's
a
all
little
good. I
guard.
forgive
They should
you.
have scheduled Jimmy Carter's funeral for inauguration. That would be
There's a
great.
stockpile of
Like, nobody
resistance
bothers
down
to
at
show
the
up.
That would be...
Everybody's...
I mean, if we want to get as petty as they are, like,
Machine
really
activity
just, like,
maybe.
bring
We need
this
to stay
fucking
on our
thing
toes.
to the ground
Of
where
course. If you're
there's no
already
bar
working on
anymore,
something
yeah.
for your hub,
I mean,
don't mind if
realistically,
that
there
takes
is no
priority.
bar anymore.
Anyway,
They've destroyed it, but
thanks in
whatever.
advance.
Ugh. What was the story I saw on Instagram and I didn't hear about it? And this, I know this kind of shit, it's like sensationalist. This congresswoman was missing.
Yeah.
She wasn't missing, but I mean, it is really stupid that, what was it, this Texas, or it wasn't even the Texas Congress. It was actually a congresswoman from Texas for the federal Congress, that she was in a nursing, like, assisted living, but in the dementia part of the assisted living, just collecting a paycheck for months
my God.
and not voting on anything. And
Right.
rather than step down, it was, Republicans were quoted as saying, like, you know what, we really need the numbers.
Yeah,
we need the
right? Like,
numbers. It's like, okay.
we can't risk
Jesus
someone,
Christ.
you know, like, actually coming in and doing stuff that disagrees with us.
Yeah, it's... So this is the part of the game where if you have side quests, which I don't,
You should be doing
but,
them.
you know, usually you should do your fucking side quests before you go any farther. And I know we got here in a matter of, like, less than 3 hours, but typically
Yeah.
it would be, like, 9 or 10 hours in that we
Dude.
kind of get here. So,
Yeah, I know what you mean completely. I'm currently, like, balls deep into Metaphor ReFantazio.
Oh, yeah, seems like it.
And oh my God, I love it so much. It's so good.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, like it
It's-
is.
there's been-
it
there's
is
been hype
such a phenomenal
around it.
game. However, I realized I'm currently, like, you know, I've let it sit for like a little bit of time while I've, you know, had to run errands or help the boys with stuff or things like that, but not so much so that it's like drastically off. I'd say I've probably been playing it between 20 and 25 hours so far.
Okay, I mean, that's still a good chunk of time.
Well, yes,
Seems
it,
like-
it certainly is, but it occurs to me that I'm still very much in the beginning of the game.
Oh,
Like, it's
that's
going to be one of
lovely.
those RPGs where, like, I get so wrapped up in, like, the side quests and, like, the grinding aspects and kind of, like, min-maxing that, like, the story should probably, I think, realistically take somewhere between, like, 60 to 70 hours. I'm probably going to double it.
Nice.
It's going to be Persona 5 all over again.
Or it's just like, you're not going to beat the game and then go back for that stuff. You're You're
the
gonna do
final
that
boss
first.
is just gonna like fold under me because of how much I've done side stuff. Like so far, like I've already noticed like the story content that I'm playing has started to get a little bit easier because of how much like I figured out real quick that there's money is purposefully scarce at the beginning of the game, to kind of make you think more about like the job class system. But there is a job that you get relatively early on that basically makes it so that every time you kill an enemy out in the field that's weaker than you, it gives you a bunch of money. And
Okay.
they clearly they give it to you early, so you're intended to be using it. But I've just been like spamming it so that like I can buy everything.
And that's the thing, is like more than most other RPGs. Well, I shouldn't say that, but at least Persona 5 is very much of you get what you put into it, to the extreme, where it's just like you want to go to Mementos. Oh, you want to stay here all day?
Yeah,
you're gonna
keep like gain 20 levels and then come out. Go for it.
You're gonna talk to the fortune teller and make sure every single battle is. Oh, you have 8 million yen now. Okay,
yep.
Like,
and I'm getting a lot of that out of Metaphor.
That's lovely.
I will say, like, I love Persona 3, and I'm absolutely going to be finishing it. But one thing that's made it, like, a little bit slower going for me in that game is that I feel like compared to Persona 5, there's, like, a lot more, like, balance checks in that one where, like, you have to be at, like, a certain intelligence level or likability level or whatever before you can progress, and if you don't, you kind of feel like you're doing it wrong,
So is the grind more built in kind of thing? Like, you have to?
In Persona 3, like, every day there feels like there's a very definite, like, thing that you have to remember to do, and if you don't, you're screwed. And again, it's not necessarily bad, it's just you've got to be hyper aware of that, and it almost starts to feel... It's a lot more... like mandatory min-max kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Whereas this game like opens everything. That's one thing I will say too. Even though, like I said, I'm definitely going to be pouring well over 100 hours into this game, I can tell already that it's not something you can tell. Like they just do. They get you moving a lot faster than in Persona 5, where like
the whole city.
the first
Persona 5 took
5
hours.
hours of that game are just like dialogue and like setting up the first dungeon, whereas in this game, like, you're off and running within an hour of starting the game up.
Okay.
And 2 hours in, you're in the city and you're like starting to do like side stuff and building your personality, and so like they introduce all of these aspects way earlier. They don't become like fully fleshed out for another couple hours, but you have options. And you're like in the core gameplay much quicker.
Okay. Now I've only played like an hour of the demo so far. How quickly? I only have like myself and that tall guy with there's too many races. So
Stroll.
Let someone clip that and take it out of context. But I don't remember.
Races.
I don't remember like
races.
I don't remember like what because you don't have any
horns
horns or anything. The tall guy that you join the army with does.
Yeah, Stroll.
And he's the only character I have so far.
Okay.
So it's like, how quickly do you like get like a full party? And what is a full party? 4 people?
Time, you have only 3 members.
Okay.
And again, I'm still relatively early into the game, but I've just gotten my 4th party member.
Okay, cool.
The carrier ship that was set to resupply has come under
But
attack.
the cool thing is, like, again, the game is really good about just kind of laying things out for you. They've also done like a lot of quality of life improvements, where like you can walk around the city and discover activities, or you can have your fairy guide like tell you, hey, I get the feeling that we should go to this shop and visit this person. Do you want to go there immediately? Yep, zip, and you're there.
If you say so.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot more approachable. Like, you can open a menu and have laid out for you in like a nice, neat fashion, like who you're close to building your relationship up with and all that good stuff.
I'm glad they didn't purposefully leave that out, because it's like it really seems like it's sort. I don't mean to like nag on the developers, but kind of obvious these days.
Yeah.
To have that kind of stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I use lasers as a plane if I have lasers on my pod. That's interesting.
You don't have lasers on your plane?
I don't. What the fuck? I don't know if I ever knew that. That's really cool.
That doesn't seem fair. Oh shit!
Wait, are these things? These
You just
things
got
are
fucked
hurting
up.
me now. I did get fucked up. That's the
I did
first
not
time I've
expect
gotten
that to
fucked up.
happen in this playthrough.
What level are these things now? Is this a point in the game where it's just like, you know what? We're gonna check. Oh, they're level 99.
The skill check, yeah.
Ow!
Sparks writes fast travel is so helpful. Yes, it is. And so it seemed like the goal of this game was to, one, take the Persona formula and like put it in kind of a medieval setting and kind of carve out like a new style for it, which they succeeded. But then they also really feel like they're bending over backwards to make everything as accessible and like palatable to get into as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So
It's
whereas
like a lot of the. Oh, say that again. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say whereas in Persona 5, which for the record I love, it's one of my favorite RPGs of all time. You were like 50 hours into that game, and they'd introduce like something brand new, and it's like, oh, this is part of your daily routine now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Do laundry, go to the hot springs. Now Kawakami is gonna make curry for you, and like they were always doing that. This game, it kind of like puts all of that. It's like extremely front loaded. So
Yeah.
like you go into the city, you walk around, and like all of the stuff is kind of introduced to you at once. And don't get me wrong, like I said, they're still giving you new stuff, but like the core mechanics are all established much, much earlier.
Okay. Alrighty. Which I also heard, speaking of laundry, that there's laundry in that game too.
There is. Though, so one of the neat things there's laundry, and then there's something else. It's like cleaning. So the way that you get around the world are in these things called gauntlet runners. They're essentially like these giant mobile tanks that
that's what you were writing at the beginning.
Yeah. And when you get one, your job is to like help clean it and maintain it and everything like that. And it's totally optional, because when you do laundry or cleaning, you either get plus 5 HP or plus 5 MP.
Yeah.
And so I'm really not going to do that until probably very near the end of the game, because you do level up at a decent rate. You have an extreme amount of customization, which I really like.
With what, clothing?
With your characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And then
yeah, you really customized your room in Persona 5. That was about it. And like their DLC costumes, but
right. Yeah, I probably won't do much of that until the end game, because it does take up part of your day if you do it. And so instead of like building one of your personality attributes or your relationship with another character, you'd be doing that just for 5 plus HP or MP.
Yeah.
Which it definitely will add up, but
yeah,
it's also like early in the game, probably not going to be your big priority.
Have you memorized the days? Is it a 7-day week, like in this fantasy world?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, when I noticed that the calendar made no sense to me, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's basically just like 7 days to a week, but everything is renamed conveniently.
Gotcha.
The nice thing, though, is that the calendar is built right into your menu, and you can look at it any time and see like what days stores will have discounts.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You think something like that, so that you're not looking at a freaking fact if you're trying to do a perfect run or some shit.
Yeah.
That is very much appreciated. Even Royal didn't have that, and it's just like, come on, this is obvious. Like, for real. And like, I did appreciate Royal did add a lot of good quality of life things like fast travel and all that.
Yeah.
But to the point where it is like, oh, this game feels kind of easy.
Right.
But I'm glad that they didn't like purposefully leave some of this out in Metaphor, so that when Metaphor Fantasio comes out, like we'll have some of this stuff. It's like
Fantasio make. Sparks writes, I have to do laundry in real life. Why would I want to do it in the game?
You know what, Sparks? I wonder this a lot. I talk about this with my therapist, where I'm like, man, I don't even know. I don't feel like I'm in control of my life, but I can make this guy go to the gym.
Yeah, right.
I can make him do laundry. He's fucking.
He's dating
first
3
in his
women
class.
at the same time.
Like he's on top of the world, and I'm putting all the hours into it. And he's the one reaping the benefits.
Right? He's
you
only
know?
17.
Why can't I do that for me, huh?
Right.
I mean, because real life ain't that fun, but
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
exactly right.
Hey, if I could be a phantom thief or something, like,
Yeah, totally.
maybe I would do stuff.
But
See,
overall,
this is the thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
people
go
go,
on.
into the fucking stock market instead of play video games. Or something.
yeah, right. You score, and
But
then
you're
just like
saying,
save scumming when your money gets
Instead of
depleted.
save scumming, they just insider trade. So,
Gotta find
right.
another way to damage
Oh,
it.
that'd be hilarious.
so what were you saying? So this game.
Well, so
what?
overall, I think what I love most about the game, besides the fact that it's, you know, essentially a medieval Persona game, with some like quality of life tweaks, the job class system is essentially FF5's,
Oh, come on.
and I am so happy.
That is so cool. I was not expecting anything like that.
It is. So like instead of Personas where like a huge part of like the battle system in that game is, you know, collecting these different monsters, like mixing them in cool ways to and you know, kind of incorporating all of their abilities together and equipping them mid-battle.
Yeah.
This game, like, every character is like the main character in a Persona game. They can all equip any job class, and your role, like, even though the characters are better suited for certain jobs, like there's characters that are clearly mages and clearly attack oriented, but you know, you can still, and the cool thing is they actually reward you. Like if you take a mage character and have them level up a, you know, warrior type class, it could unlock a new subclass for them that, you know, has some heavier offensive abilities, which is really cool.
That's
So
cool.
it's not just like, hey, make sure that this character only does mage type stuff.
That is.
Yeah, and then like you get the inherited abilities. So like when you equip a new job class, you can pick certain abilities to come with you from your previous job class.
Oh, cool. Like,
and it starts
so
with only
it
one
is like the
ability, but
Persona
as you
system.
level up your relationship with them,
Yeah.
with the various characters, their associated starting job class will allow you to inherit more abilities.
Okay.
So essentially, like, you level it up, like you deviate from the starter class to level up a mage. Well, that allows you to then create the job class Magic Knight. And then because you have developed your relationship with that character, the knight tree and all of its affiliated sub jobs can now equip 2 inherited abilities instead of 1, and more as you go on.
Okay, that sounds.
So all of these
a little
things like work in
complicated, but
tandem
really cool.
to make your jobs that much better.
Come on!
Yeah.
It's got an electromagnetic barrier over its whole body?
So yeah,
That sounds
it's a
really
wonderful
cool.
game.
I did not expect a job system, and it's
Yeah,
like
me neither.
it basically works as the Persona system.
Yep.
It feels a lot more personal instead of like you using a stand, basically.
Yeah, right.
Which is Persona.
Yep. Yeah, all the characters have like this really dope armor for each of the job classes. It's really cool.
That's cool. I never knew that shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
And yeah, I love the customization as far as like when it's locked in, tied to the confidants, but also tied to like kind of how you remix.
Yep.
You know, the job class depending on your play style. You know.
It's
So- and
almost verbatim FF5, the way that you can mix and match abilities, which is why I love it so much. But yeah, it's super deep. The game itself, the engine is still just like the Persona 5 and 3 remake engine.
By the way,
so it's
I'm just
super
putting
light on
some
your computer.
saline in my eyes. Oh, because it's
Like, oh god, I didn't blink for that entire sequence.
It's just like I don't want to play Ikaruga right now. Jeez. Also, I don't know why the flight sequences. It's like, hey, everything's level 99, like you. It's like, what?
Like, hey, fuck you.
Interesting, but yeah. Okay, so sorry. Go on.
Oh, but yeah, so like it kind of hits all the marks. So like the engine, it still looks good. But you know, it's the familiar Persona 5 engine, and so it's not going to be very heavy on your computer or graphics card, you'll have no problem running it on your Steam Deck, which is real nice.
Yeah.
And
This thing's
then,
armor is too
what
thick.
else did I want to say? The story is phenomenal. Holy cow!
Yeah.
It's a lot of like political intrigue, and I can see immediately why the game's title is metaphor.
Yeah.
It's essentially like this world's first democratic election, and you have to get people to elect you king. Like that's the whole purpose of
Oh
the story.
shit! Okay, that's awesome.
It is.
I know
It's
you're
really good.
Prince is your
like,
buddy,
the
but
villain is essentially like, imagine if Donald Trump were competent. That's he's like a super populist. I mean, he's just out for power, and except he's like actually smart and charismatic. So he's
gotcha.
He's
So,
terrifying.
Yeah, so terrifying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely put it on your short list to play.
Yeah. I didn't know about the job system.
Neither
I
did
do like a
Going
good job
into it,
system.
I was honestly just thinking, just kind of like a straight up, like Persona side story set in a medieval world.
Yeah.
And there are elements of it where it really is that, but you know, they take what is convenient to take from the series, while totally adding a unique twist on other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
It sounds like it. Yeah, shit's getting real.
Are you alright, Tubi?
Quick, more Ikaruga.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh wait, no, now it's Xenogears.
That enormous machine is an ancient.
Oh, that's
Or Zone
another
of the
thing that
Enders.
I would love. Zone of the Enders. If they brought that shit back.
Dude, you know,
There's-
like for all the properties that they're resurrecting, I'm a little bit surprised Kojima hasn't. It's probably one of those series
Like,
that's
who
kind
owns
of
it?
like,
The berserk and begin
does
attacking
Konami
everything.
own it, or does Kojima own it, or
Figure out how to
or is it Konami but they can't make it without Kojima? I don't know.
But it seems to be searching for a way back. Huh.
Yeah, I bet Sony owns it or something, and they're like, we're not going to do anything with this, but we're also not going to let anyone else do anything with it.
Yeah, right.
What?
Which is why we'll keep on releasing a new version of Zone of the Enders 2 with slightly more bloom effects until, so that the property doesn't expire.
Leaving the front lines. Proposal.
I just saw that actually on Steam the other day that
No.
there was that
Oh, Jen.
HD remaster pack that was released a decade ago. But then they
Zone of the Enders 2?
remastered that remaster and called it Zone of the Ender Second Runner Mars. And it's also got like a VR version.
Oh, VR version sounds interesting. I mean, I'm
it
not a
sounds
VR.
like something that would make me real sick.
Right.
Because I mean, you've
Especially-
seen the gameplay in those, right?
Oh yeah, you're flipping around.
Oh yeah, you're like
dashing.
flipping around, going like 5,000 miles an hour, and like rocketing yourself into moving battleships, and like it's not a game that I would think would. I mean, maybe not with
hey.
the current technology of VR be very good.
Yeah, or they change it so that you're. Well, if they change the gameplay, that would really suck.
Yeah, like
Because
it's
it's not
super
Zone of the
slow
Enders.
paced now.
Yeah.
But no, like for the most of the game, from what I saw, is just like an even prettier version of the HD remaster of Zone of the Enders 2. But I also saw that it's VR compatible, so I don't know how that would work.
Wait, it's what? Say that last part again.
VR compatible.
Oh, okay.
So there's a VR mode. Kind of like the
Okay.
Resident Evil, more recent Resident Evil games, where they always include
Yeah.
like,
Speaking
a VR
of, I mean,
experience.
bravo to Capcom for continuing to do that. Like, it's so funny that some of the best VR games are just the VR mode of Resident Evil.
Yeah,
like
honestly.
they're legit, and like some of the longest VR games are like
Oh,
whole
absolutely, and like the
experiences.
most fleshed out gameplay wise. Sparks, right? That sounds like motion sickness. The game, yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
But like
definitely does.
I get slightly motion sick even just playing like Resident Evil VR,
9S is leaving the
and
front
that's
lines.
way slower paced.
Proposal.
Yeah.
9S should be reported to command.
Trying to
know
think,
what's
what
weird,
would-
though, is that like out of all the games that they could have made VR, they didn't
Yeah.
do an RE2 remake VR mode, which probably would have been the
Oh.
one that I would have most cared about.
Yeah, they did do 4, and then
did
obviously
4.
7 and 8.
Yeah, 4, 7, and 8, but not. But for some reason,
That-
not 2 and 3.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Which is weird because like nostalgia alone would make me try the VR mode of that.
Yeah.
Granted, you know, I feel like really stupid. I got like a Christmas bonus one year, and I got that PS4 VR headset. And to this day, I feel like I just got burned on that thing. There was just nothing for it.
I mean, here's the thing: is like
Except
I
RE7.
definitely. It seems that way for the current
Yeah,
VR
now they're doing it again.
headset. Yeah, they're definitely. But like, I mean, the PS1 the PS4 version VR1, like, just hearing about it, it's like seems like there's some games for it.
Really?
Like,
'Cause
I mean, there's
I
fucking
could not
Astrobot.
find anything like even remotely worth investing in that thing. Like I
mean,
had some
you're right.
fun
I
with
can't
it
think of
while
anything
I
other than
first owned it, but yeah, other than Resident Evil 7 and Astrobot, like there was just nothing.
which the Resident Evil games you can't finish in VR, right?
Nope. I got to the
There-
Marguerite fight and I was like, I'm good.
so not very far.
Nope.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
that literally just felt like being confined in a room with a woman who
Like
hates you.
you're there.
That's
Yeah, I
something.
don't think I could handle it either. I haven't played any of those games in VR because I'm surprised I don't own a VR headset. But
You know,
like-
I don't think there's much of a reason to. Like, I can probably count on one hand the number of VR games that I'm even remotely interested in.
yeah,
And like, one of them is Half-Life Alyx, one of them is RE4 VR. I think there was like a Batman one that came out relatively recently that was supposed to be kind of cool.
yeah. But
But
and
you also never
the
hear
old-
about it. I think that's the more than anything is the reason that it doesn't take off is that like even like the really killer games that occasionally do eke out for them, you never hear about them.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God! Get
And
away!
it's always funny because every time we have like a VR resurgence, you know, they're always saying like this is the future of gaming. Well, it's been the future of gaming since 1995. So
That's true, and God bless them. They still try to make it happen.
yeah.
And I really thought this time. I mean, definitely, it's still going on. It hasn't died.
Yeah, no,
But
weirdly it hasn't died. It just kind of keeps dying and resurrecting.
But it's like 3D TV, where
Oh,
it's just
God,
like
yeah.
I don't think this was the time. Like I don't think we're just it's coming around the corner and then it's gonna be the next big thing. Like I don't see that happening,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it ever
what the
will.
next big innovation in TVs is going to be, but I doubt it's 3D because you lose so much
Smell-o-vision.
fidelity. Like if you're sitting even like a pixel off.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and the thing is there's something very social about TV and about video
Mhm.
games. That VR, yeah, you can have it hooked up to like a TV
Minus.
so people can see what you're doing, sorta. It's not the same.
Yeah. I honestly believe that like if there is going to be like a next big innovation in television that you and I get to witness, it's probably going to be something to do with like the way that either tablets or like, you know, like the Apple TVs or similar boxes like Roku's and everything like that work, where they have like ultra efficient like built-in projectors, and like so you can take your TV box from and just set it up in front of any wall in the house and have
Yeah.
like a ultra clear, ultra bright display like ready to go. And I
Yeah.
don't quite know how that would work because I'm not a science man. But like you know, like when you look at some of these short throw projectors today, they're really good and like
They're clear.
yeah, they're really clear. They can do HDR now, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Even in like well lit
That is-
rooms, they look really good, and so
Are you
yeah.
alright?
Yeah.
I think
System
I think
diagnostics.
the future is going to be just like
Functionality appears
shrinking
intact.
that technology and making it portable.
Never mind that.
Yeah.
I need a status report.
So like
But
instead
in a
of
way
buying,
that's like
you know,
not
a,
the glasses.
a $2,000 piece of glass that could fall off my wall at any time and break. You
Yeah,
know, like I
seriously.
have zero setup. It's just I have this box,
However,
and wherever
EMP
that box
strikes
is,
knocked out
it'll,
bombs all across
you
the
know,
region.
read
We're
my
having trouble
wall
getting them
and
back online,
give me the best
which means
possible
data
display.
uploading is currently
Yeah.
unavailable in some
So
areas.
they do have the like the glass, like Ray-Ban glasses and stuff, where it's a wearable. It's like, hey, you can have a 140-inch TV wherever you want, you know, kind of thing. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, and the tech there is getting better, but
Yeah.
I think I would rather have something that everyone can see, you know, like you said,
Let me know.
a projector,
Right.
you know, but just like really clear, really bright in any room, like.
Right.
And they're getting better, you know.
They absolutely are, and this is probably like the most American thing I've
And
ever
cheap.
said, but like wearables require too much effort. So I don't
They
think
require
wearables
what?
are going to replace TVs. I think they'll be like more of an option, but I don't think they'll
Okay.
replace like actual television sets. What I do think is going to happen with television sets is kind of what I described, or even if like, you know,
Let's go.
I don't know, they kind of sell them in two parts, where you have like kind of this blank, almost like the Samsung frame TV, you know what I'm talking about, where it's kind of like this blank thing and it can go into sleep mode and display artwork.
Yeah.
But then like, you know, it becomes thinner and lighter and everything. And so it's essentially just like a screen or a poster that you can slap up anywhere. And then the TV itself would be like the little, you know, Apple box or Windows box
Yeah.
or Android box or whatever.
Okay.
Like that's where I see that going.
Yeah, I again, like you said, I don't know how that would work necessarily, but yeah, I don't. It seems like something that's feasible.
Well, yeah,
you know?
like if you've seen one of those, I think they're only like in like ultra rich models, but like there's these ones, there's like these displays now that are as thin as like an actual sheet of glass. But then they have like a wire that hangs from them, and that wire is connected to a little box that sits down at the bottom, and that's the actual TV.
Okay.
Right? The display itself is just a thin little sheet that's extremely light and can be hung just about anywhere. But again, I think as that technology gets more efficient and you don't need that wire anymore, that's where the big breakthrough for that style of television will come through. He really
Gotcha.
tried.
He tried.
He did
Once
try.
again, they're not level 99 anymore. Now that I'm on the ground.
Yeah, they have a screen way too close to your eyes. You're right, Sparks. Like, whenever I've tried, like, VR or, like, an augmented reality glasses set in Best Buy, it gets annoying really fast to me. I'm sure there's eventually going to be, like, you know, probably Apple or Samsung will release one that's just, like, really intuitive and like, non-intrusive, that just feels like you're wearing your ordinary glasses. And that'd probably be when I would bite the bullet on that, just so that like I had something, you know, that like anytime my wife texts or something like that, I can just like tap the side of my glasses frames and I'm the only one who
Yeah.
can see it, and it's just there.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that
And
that
we'll
I
see
think
that
we're
in
getting
our
really
lifetime.
close to as well.
We'll see that.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely see that. I think the only thing really prohibiting that, like when you look at the Apple VR headset, which has kind of been a flop so far, I think the thing that's
Yeah.
holding it back more than anything is just the battery. I think when batteries shrink down and become more efficient, then we're going to see major breakthroughs in like AR glasses and stuff like that, or even the style of TVs I was talking about.
Yeah. And that's I feel like a lot of times that's the part of the equation that comes last.
Yeah,
like
batteries
the-
are...
The chemists
as old
don't
as
keep up
they
with the
are, they're
engineers.
incredibly difficult to make.
Yeah. And it's like
And
a
expensive.
weirdly ancient technology that we're still relying on. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, what is it to a battery?
I mean, until
I
we
can't think of
start,
any
like,
other way to make them.
Sending satellites out into deep space to mine hitherto unknown metals. Like, we're kind of stuck with the batteries we have. Lithium ion is, like, still the most efficient and affordable.
Yeah.
And you know, we're clearly seeing the limitations of that right now. Like, even with things like, you know, the Steam Deck and other portables, like, they're these really high-powered pieces of technology, and they're incredible to hold in your hands.
Yeah.
But they're going to perpetually remain kind of clunky because of the batteries, and, oh, by the way, they're only good for like an hour or two when you're
Yeah.
running a game.
Now, I feel like these days, something smart we've tried doing is the batteries are getting better,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
also the tech to really make them better is more fast charging.
Right,
That it's just
exactly.
like,
We're seeing
okay, we
diminishing
have to,
returns on it.
we can't make them like. We're at a point where it's just like, okay, there just has to be more, so they have to be bigger.
So someone
and if you don't want
out there is going to have to figure out a new way to do, charging an energy payload to devices.
Yeah, because if it was something, I don't know, if you could keep a charger on you and you could charge something literally in like 10 seconds, that would kind of solve things. It'd be like, okay, the battery doesn't last long. Well, it's also like, obviously, these batteries are only good for how many uses.
Right.
And I know fast charging kills the battery quicker.
Yeah.
But, then that's consumerist culture. Then it's just like, well, after 2 years, you got to replace your whatever doohickey,
So like, this I don't think we'll live to see. But imagine, like, a future where, like, today everyone still carries around a wallet that has their, ID, their
I'm looking for something called a dynamic scanner
essential
that can detect
credit and
black
debit
box
cards,
signals.
their, apartment key if they have a key fob or something like that.
You must mean the one
But
that's
imagine
Yeah.
like a
think I
future
just
where
back
all
from
of
the
that has been
expedition,
replaced by the
actually.
phone,
You
and
should
instead
see
the
some
purpose of the
red-haired
wallet
androids
is to
over there.
keep your
Try talking to them.
like think Legend of Zelda style
Those
power
twins,
cells,
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
everybody has a number of power cells on them, and they're constantly being wirelessly charged when they go into certain locations around the city or in their home. And,
Yeah.
those are all hot swappable and standardized to their devices. So, like, picture like
I
something
would
the size
be-
of a micro SD card that, you're running low, you just swap it out, and your device is ready to go again.
I think that's probably where we're going.
I
'Cause we're
think
like-
that's, like, maybe a bit more far-flung, like,
Probably.
100-plus years out, but...
The battery situation and charging them that quickly, it's a tough nut to crack. And I don't know shit. I don't know.
Me
All I
neither.
know is that
this is just like when I imagine like these future devices and how we're going to power them, that's kind of like the solution that makes sense to me. Like these micro batteries, and you kind of carry them around in like a cigarette case or a wallet, and they're just ready to go and to replace in any device that you have on you. And they can be charged either through a cable or through wireless charging technology as that becomes more mainstream. Like, I know airports already have a thing, like, where, like, if you sit on a certain bench or whatever, you'll notice that your phone starts charging.
your ass starts getting hotter.
Yeah, right, your balls start, like, tingling. Oh, no. I sat in the hot zone.
Something is amiss in the testicular region here. Oh, it appears I'm sterile. Okay, very good. I just got the scanner, so I gotta equip the scanner.
Spark, sorry about your motion sickness. That sucks. I don't get motion sickness very bad.
With VR?
But VR does hit me sometimes. And like I said, I haven't... The only place I've ever tried, like, augmented reality glasses is in, like, a Best Buy. And I haven't seen anything yet that was like, oh yeah, I have to have this in my life.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's maybe a mixture of VR and AR, but that would probably require more the AR. Because I feel like, again, the VR is very isolating.
Yeah.
It's you're disconnected from people, and
which is why I think the Apple headset has failed. And like every set like it so far, it's just not something people want to wear in public. It's cumbersome.
For sure.
Like you're gonna be either a nuisance or you're gonna get stabbed.
This might be useful.
I mean, I'm not a violent person, but like if I saw a dude in a VR headset on the bus, I'd stab him just to see if I could get away with it.
Got it.
Shit.
What's he gonna do?
What's stab me?
Affirmative. As a support unit.
Oh god. But no, like if they could massively shrink that technology so that it's the same sensation as when I put on my everyday glasses or sunglasses, then yeah, I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, and it's just like and Google Glass again. God bless them for trying. Very
that
clunky.
Thing was a little...
It was kind of early.
Yeah,
it was underbaked.
Yep.
It was definitely underbaked. And they had like a second version. I think that's all. And then there was a third version for like business only. Dude,
really?
Get out of my way. What are you?
I want to fucking save, dude.
Oh no, it's out of order. That's why I couldn't save before.
You punk.
This part of the game, there's fucking teleporting, but you saw in the flooded region there were enemies attacking the vending machine. And so it's just like, oh, you can't use that one right now. The resistance camp, something's going on, so you can't teleport there.
These like Frito-Lay bots are going around vandalizing all the other vending machines.
That is what they are, aren't they?
Frito-Lay bots.
Frito-Lay bots. In a world, instead of like Big and Save or whatever from the
where
Pixar
for some
movies
reason like
WALL-E.
Frito-Lay is the corporatocracy that wins out above all the others. That'd be amazing.
And now, Donald Trump Jr., sponsored by Frito-Lay.
Yeah, right?
Jesus Christ.
Like, everybody was thinking it was going to be like Sony or Apple or Microsoft. No, Frito-Lay.
No, Frito-Lay.
Frito-Lay just comes out of nowhere and takes over everything. And this is the future that mankind has inherited. It kind of reminds me a little bit of WALL-E, you know, what was that? What was that big supermarket that was like a stand-in for Walmart?
Big and Save or whatever it was,
Buy and Save or something
Buy and
like
Save,
that.
something like that, but it's free.
But yeah, like, they just took over everything and just, like, mined Earth for all it was worth. It's Frito-Lay.
It's just like, oh wow, so our soda and chips are a hit. What should we do next?
Nuclear arms? Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay. A little bit of a lateral move, but all right.
That would be amazing.
And
horrible,
terrible, but yeah.
amazing.
Horrible, but amazing.
Horribly amazing.
Stupid pipe. I just
Come on,
want to
trying to surf
slide.
the
I just want to
sewers.
glide.
You're surfing.
Damn it!
Hey, Mike, did you see a hot Asian chick? No, you're crazy, Donnie.
You know when you're wrapping presents, you get that glide going with the scissors?
Yeah, and then you like veer just a little bit, and like one of them gives you a nasty paper cut.
Jeez. Oh, dude.
Dude,
I got one between my fingers
thing
this
happened
year.
to me when I was rapping a couple of weeks ago. Like,
oh yeah, me
I
too.
got like a perfect glide going, but then the paper like rocketed up and gave this like huge incision all the way down the back of my hand.
No, God.
It was like the perfect like suicide cut. I was like, oh my God.
Mine was in between my fucking fingers, and all I could think was like, this wouldn't have happened with the shitty wrapping paper.
Right.
Like it's this good wrapping paper, but it's like really firm and everything.
Paper, yeah.
And it's just like, okay, yeah. So
like,
this
you
is
know
what I
that like
paid
if you
for,
took it outside and like whipped it the exact right way against a telephone pole, the whole thing would come down, you know, like anime style. Oh God. But no, that's what my hand felt like. Like I saw the line form, and I just saw the little trickle of blood. I'm like, no.
Right? It's
like
almost like a
3 inches
betrayal
long, too. Like I
of
still
just
have the
like
scab.
It's like a betrayal of like physics
I
and
know.
everything you know about reality, where it's just like it's paper. As soon as it happens, you're like, don't bleed, don't you
Right?
Motherfucker.
Oh, and then the worst part was I forgot about it the next day, and I had a hospital visit. So I did hand sanitizer on my way out.
Oh.
Like, the burn was so intense.
Dude, that happens every couple weeks for me.
Oh.
Because we hand sanitize like 90 times a day.
Yep.
And if you have a cut you don't know about, now
You'll
you know about
it.
it.
Yeah, don't you hate that when you like discover a way that you've hurt yourself that you didn't know about by hand sanitizer?
I hurt myself today.
Oh shit. But yeah, no, this has been a fun line of conversation because I like to think about this stuff. Like, where could, you know, our everyday technology that we use constantly kind of go next and just completely revolutionize the way we live? And like,
it's
you know,
crazy
things like
that
TVs and wearables and stuff like that, they're not going anywhere. But
Oh,
you
no.
know, hopefully you and I still have a good 40, 50 plus years of life ahead of us, and we're going to see some huge changes in that time.
I was just thinking about that while I was driving yesterday. I don't know why I was thinking about it, but I was like, man, when I'm like 80 years old or something, I'm going to look back at like, wow, shit changed, you know,
Yeah,
and hopefully
right.
in a good way.
Hopefully.
Because, I mean, you think about people today who are like 100 years old being like, I remember gas lamps. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
isn't it?
fucking crazy. You remember candles. And now we have silicon that fucking, you know, can make what I'm playing and shit. Like,
yeah, right.
It's,
Well, and when you think about like lighting too, like we have these light strips and like these smart bulbs that you can turn on with your voice. Like, can you, like, it seems pretty mundane to us, but like imagine, you know, like a grandma or grandpa who died in like 1999 or something like that. That would have blown their freaking minds.
Yeah. And I think about like, I don't know, like we could look back on when we were born and the computer games that existed back then.
Oh my god, that has been the biggest marker.
And it's just like if you look at it that way, hindsight's 2020. It's like fuck, we've come a long way. But when you're actually living it, it can still be amazing, but you really can't see the curve for what it is of progress
until you take a step back. Yeah,
you take a step back, and it's just like holy shit.
I'm so glad that of all things, like gaming is my hobby because it's just been like we were born at the exact right moment in history to witness just this like takeoff in interactive entertainment.
Yeah.
Have contacted the
And you know, you got the people who were like the Atari was like their system when they were like adults and stuff, and they're living through it too. But I feel like we got to experience a good amount of like actual childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
With some of the best games out there. Like
but like we were literally born as gaming was really hitting its stride. And so like not only did we grow up with like controllers in our hands, but like you said, we've lived these major milestones, and it's been so cool to see like the technology develop and change.
Yeah, like when we really got into the Super Nintendo, it was like a very much hobby thing that definitely took over a couple aisles.
Oh yeah,
in like some stores, but it was like a hobby.
We got made fun of for being Nintendo boys back in the day.
It was nowhere near the biggest electronic entertainment in the world.
Yeah, right. Like
nowhere
you
near
look
that.
at how much the landscape of it has changed. It went from literally being like a couple of, nerdy kids like us who played video games regularly to, every single human being with a cell phone is in some capacity a gamer, right?
Yeah.
Like they all have some games. Like it's not a niche hobby. It's like it's expected that. If a person has a device, then they're doing some level of gaming on it.
Yeah, for sure. That's everyone.
Yeah. And everybody has like the genres they like, and there's room for like casual people who just play like fun little pop games and stuff like that, but they're still using the same technology. And what often happens is that'll open the door into like competitive gaming, or they'll do something with their friends, or it's kind of become like so mainstream as to be like a board game, like whereas people who might not otherwise engage with the medium will still do it socially, which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
because there was no social aspect of it except for like finding the other kids who play video games and like making a little cult with them.
Yeah, and like now that's your person you're going to talk to at recess and, talk about, which was still awesome.
Yep.
I'm glad to live through that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's essentially how you and I became friends.
Oh, yeah. I think before I go where I'm supposed to go, I'm really getting tired of coming across these chips and I can't grab them anymore. So we're going to see if they fixed. Yeah, they did. They fixed it. Check that out. But yeah, it is so much easier just to connect with people, and there's going to be a lot more people who are into what you're into,
Exactly,
It kind of felt, and that's great, it did kind of feel special in a way. I'm not going to say it's better, because that's rose-tinted glasses, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool to like find, and as far as hobbies, like, yes, I'm so glad gaming is like, probably my favorite hobby.
Oh, yeah.
But
Same.
like, when it comes to bang for your buck, when it comes to how much entertainment you're going to get for the money you pay, there's no greater value.
Yeah, you're like, honestly right. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like, yeah, they're like consoles and computers can be expensive, but you're expected to pay for them once, like every 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Whereas like, a new golf club is going to cost you $400 and you have to keep those like up to code and things like that. They'll stuff, I mean,
for sure.
And then you pay for, the balls, the membership, the clothes, and don't get me wrong, athleticism is awesome and everyone should be active to some degree. But at the same time, like if that's like your major hobby, you're spending way more than I'm generally spending on video games. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of value there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that was the case, I would say, as soon as we were kids and games like Final Fantasy existed, because they take a while, and those games would only take you like 20 hours.
Yep.
But nowadays, picking up like Metaphor Refantasio for less than $50 is dollars per minute.
Yeah,
like it's a little crazy.
I'm looking at like pennies on the hour of the value I'm getting for that game.
Yeah. Now you can see I mixed a range up +3 and a +3.
Saw that.
Only one was a diamond, but it created a diamond.
Okay.
But if I do that again with a +4 and a +4, the +5 probably won't be a diamond. So I'll have to look for a diamond next. But I took a risk with that one because I'm like, I'm probably not doing that too often.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm just trying to get rid of some stuff or, mix them together so that it, what do you call it? I can free up some space.
Right, exactly.
Let's see. Like this one. And I'm not actually going to use any of these, but the more I create, you pare down 30 chips
I just want to
into like 2 perfect chips. Maybe I will use it much later in the future.
Right. Much later in the future when I'm still playing this game.
Yeah, right. I like this one.
That's actually, going back to our topic here, that was kind of one thing that I was thinking of. One is we were talking about Trump, but then two, the much more fun conversation about technology. Like, part of me is like, oh man, yeah, I can't wait to see what comes next, and I wonder what the world will look like 50 years from now. But at the same time, like, don't be wishing that you're going to age any faster than you are, because 50 years from now is the end.
50 years, and enjoy it.
But like, even if I'm extremely blessed with a long life cycle, that's still pretty close to the damn end.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
Yeah, you're not
enjoy
wrong.
Like the modern marvels that we have today, right?
Unless we steal some of that Bezos tech.
Right. Unless whatever's going to keep Bezos alive past the apocalypse trickles down to us.
Yeah. Oh, so the show I was talking about on Netflix about uploading uploading human intelligence to machines, blah, blah, blah. It is not called Prometheus. I was wrong. It's Pantheon.
Oh, okay. So, is it kind of the same principle as like Altered Carbon?
No, not so much. Although, Altered Carbon, that's such a great... And I haven't read the book, but it's such a great show.
Yeah. The book and the show are both phenomenal.
Did you watch the second season of the show?
I don't think so.
Okay, with Anthony Mackie playing...
No, I haven't. Okay, no, I gotta check that out, actually.
It's good. It's not as good. It definitely is not as good, I think. But, maybe different strokes. Maybe you'll like it more than I did.
Yeah. Altered Carbon, like, I really liked the first season of the show, and I really liked the book. But in both cases, like, I couldn't help but feel like the premise of the world that was being built was more fun and engaging than, like, the actual plot of the show.
I gotcha.
Because like in the book too, like when they're like spelling everything out, like how the technology works and like all the rules that are attached to them, like, wow, this is really trippy and cool.
And part of it is also like a like dystopian can be, is like a warning for our world. Like, hey,
exactly.
Couldn't you imagine our capitalist hellscape functioning like this, where Methuselah's become a thing? And
that more than anything, like when people like. When I hear like an academic discussion about like the plausibility of eternal life through machines, like I have trouble engaging with it, because the very first thing that I think of is for the ultra wealthy, right?
Yeah,
where they essentially get to reign over us mortals as gods, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like 300-year-old Jeff Bezos and like the horrors that he could inflict on mankind with even more money?
None of you were here to understand that
and honestly, like, who could question them? Because not only do they have so much more money and resources than the rest of us, but they literally have the wisdom of ages behind them, and like that's just not fair.
Yeah, I get you.
Whereas people who are born into limited means, and that is their carnal sin, like, they're condemned to 50 years of toil under these people until they pass away. It's just what a nightmare that could be.
I mean, I agree that they could have the wisdom of ages, but also some of these people,
or the greed.
I don't
of
care
ages,
how old they are, like they just don't. They're stuck, But also, I wonder just the human condition. If the brain just doesn't start to degrade after a while because it's never been to this point before,
Right, yeah, well, and at that point we have to like start kind of quantifying consciousness. Like the other thought that I have, and I don't even know if I can explain it properly, like imagine for a minute,
take
like,
a toke and then try.
Okay, yeah, right. I think I need to drink a little bit more. But so here's my theory, right? Imagine for a minute, like let's go to altered carbon, where everyone's consciousness is uploaded into stacks, right? Okay. And so like you get your head blown off, and your body dies, but your stack is intact. So they simply transfer your memories, your core personality traits, all of that stuff that you've experienced up to that point into a new shell, and then that becomes you. It kind of begs the question, like, well, is it? Or is it a
you?
new, unique being that is just pre-programmed with everything that you did? Like when I close my eyes and expect to wake up in a new frame or a new body, like, is that still going to be me, Chris Beck, or is someone else going to have that experience with all of my baggage?
Yeah, I get you, and that is, I think I understand you.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like, it's
and
probably
so what
not
I'm
a great
essentially
example.
asking is mankind body, mind, or soul, right?
Is it a combo, and it has to be the combo?
Yeah, right.
Like, what constitutes us?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like when this shell dies and I, sign myself up for the upload program so that I can keep on living, though, like, am I even going to be,
you see it,
like,
keep
am
on
I,
living.
as I am today, going to in any way get to go along for that ride or be a part of it? Or is there just going to be some new meat bag with all of my data that's going to be Chris Beck?
Yeah, and maybe that person, and who knows, maybe that person thinks they're Chris Beck too.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But
you
I'm
are
not
dead.
living
I'm
it.
not experiencing it, right?
Yeah, you're not experiencing it, which is also begs the question of consciousness, which is like, why am I me and why am I not?
Yeah, exactly.
You,
right. So
why
like,
am I not a rabbit
it
somewhere?
It can transfer all of my habits, my memories, my knowledge, and stuff like that. But can it literally transfer my consciousness? Yeah, that's a weird.
Like, can something like that be?
If you think about it too hard, you start to give yourself a little.
You start to. Yeah.
Because, like, on the one hand,
I do love those
like, everything
conversations,
about me
though.
is in this little digital box that can be freely transferred to any kind of, like, computer or autonomous being. But on the other hand, like, is it? Addy writes, I am way too sober for this. Yeah, but no, I'm actually really glad. I forgot that you were the one who introduced me to Altered Carbon, because as soon as I read that book, like, I immediately had this exact thought. Like, the one thing that I kept coming back to was like, oh, this would actually be really cool, like, if rich people wouldn't abuse it and it was available for everybody. But then my thought was like, well, would it be?
Would it be?
Like,
yeah.
Would this actually change anything? But then there was, like, one thing that I came back to, which was, if I die, and like and someone tells me that, like, okay, Mr. Beck, you're about to close your eyes in death, and we'll see you in 5 minutes in your new shell. Like, even if that doesn't happen, like, that kind of removes a lot of the fear of death, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get it, because it's just like, well, something's gonna go over, even if it's not my full consciousness. Like, I should be there, right? Like,
yeah,
but it is. It's like, can that be quantified?
Like, all the terror of, like, the end is removed, because it's just like, okay, you're just gonna go under like you would for surgery. You're gonna pass out for a few minutes, and then we'll have you re-uploaded. And so again, even like if that is the end for me, I don't know it because I'm dead.
Gosh, think of that if that's already fucking happening.
Yeah,
I got my appendix out and I died.
This is
I'm just
the end.
I'm just some shell that's like bloop 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 bloop. Fuck.
But then like the ultra negative part of me is like, But then I'm, assuming like it can't like actually transfer my consciousness or what makes me me to the next Chris Beck shell. I'm condemning some poor schmuck to be
Would
Chris
my mask
Beck.
have made it this far inside?
Yeah, dude. Wow.
I couldn't do that to
That's
somebody.
not cool.
Don't care.
Right? Like, oh
shit.
man. Wait, who am I? Am I
This-
Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, you're Chris Beck.
I think about like I'm on an old computer. I've had this computer, 5 years. I've loved it, and I have my emulator there with Super Punch Out and Super Metroid and all the other super games.
Yeah.
And then it's like I'm gonna get a new computer. I don't know where I got this shit. I don't even know if it still exists on the internet.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna put it on my thumb drive, like my 4 gigabyte thumb drive. Holy shit!
Yeah, holy
And-
shit.
And I'm gonna transfer it to my new computer. And it's just like my old computer could run the games, but it only had like, 1 megabyte of RAM or some shit
Uh-huh.
and all this stuff. And so now I put the USB into my new computer. It's all still there, but now it's running better. And now it's smoother. And it's just like, hey, all that data got copied over,
Right.
but
But it's just
it's not
better
the same
now.
anymore. It's better,
What is this?
but not the same. It's
Yeah.
like
You know-
running a different way.
That's actually a really good case in point argument. So, like, all of these things that we're talking about, like, video games are kind of a perfect metaphor for that because you look at, like, these ultra high-end systems that we've built in our living rooms, right? And half of what we do with them is running games from, like, 1994, right?
Yeah.
But as we play them on our
What's
computers,
with the corpses?
well, like we were talking about Sonic, Sonic Adventure. You can tell that it's, even if it's just by a little bit, that it is different from the way that it played on Dreamcast.
For
And
sure.
like even with like the ultra high end like
TV's
4090
different.
rig here, it's just now being able to run comparably to what a Sega Dreamcast could do in 1999.
But yeah, as far as emulating,
Yeah.
so
isn't
that it
wild?
seems like it's the genuine article, takes so much more power most of the time. It's
Yeah, and so maybe that's kind of how you can think of like this whole conversation we're having, like transferring human consciousness. It's essentially like emulating me or emulating you.
yeah,
After that, like does it have all of like the same features, memories, quirks? Yeah, maybe, but it's not quite the original. So I don't know what that means, but
if you want to know
this is all
what
hypothetical.
Max in high school was reading, it was shit like this.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the God Project.
Dude, I love sci-fi books to this day. Like half of what I read is sci-fi.
Yeah. And you think about, I love Ghost in the Machine stories.
Uh-huh.
I love artificial intelligence stories because they scare me too. But
Yeah, because there's so
It's-
much potential there for evil, right?
Yeah.
Sparks writes something though, like the optimistic part of all this is like, I wish I could transfer my brain to a body that works better.
yeah,
That like in the best case scenario, how cool would that be?
yeah, seriously.
To get to see more of the future in like a body that I don't care like 6-pack abs or whatever. That'd be kind of a nice creature feature, but like essentially I don't have to worry about suffering a terminal illness.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty neat.
that would be awesome. And yeah, like that's oh, sorry, Adam. Jeez,
Damn.
real stupid of you to turn
Adam
your
just
immortality.
got fucked.
Now we just talk about finding immortality. This guy had it, and he just turned it off.
He just turned it off.
He just
because-
turned it off because he's like, nothing means anything if I can't die.
And
That's basically
and that's kind of like the final page on like this. What does it mean to be human argument, right? Like,
By
let's
the
say
way,
we
perfect
develop the
backdrop to have this
technology
conversation.
to live forever, right?
yeah,
What then becomes our purpose, right? If,
Yeah.
If passing things on to the next generation and leaving the universe a better place than we found it stops meaning anything.
that was our purpose genetically. Like,
Yeah.
that's all life is at this point right now.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to find like our Dr. Manhattan, way of living and
Right, like
figure
what's-
something out?
What's the cap on human progress, right? Where progress itself stops meaning things.
Which is like, what did Dr. Manhattan do? He created life, which is like, in a way, we kinda are doing that. We
Yeah.
haven't done it yet, but
Which is also freaky because when you look at like Dr. Manhattan as an example, he was like the perfectly evolved immortal being, right? I don't feel like we're anywhere near
No.
the point in our evolution where we should be creating life
No. Oh God.
or new sentience. But
We-
here we are
we-
fucking with it and using it to, write our emails and sex talk with us.
Yeah, basically weird porn and just yeah.
But I guess,
we
for
gotta-
better or worse, like the genie's out of the bottle, and we're gonna have to see how it
I don't have
unravels
time.
over the next decade.
I need
Yeah.
to find 9S.
Ah, 9S.
But like the scary reality of it, like I keep going back and forth between optimism and horror. Like the scary reality of it is like I'm hoping that someone with a lot of money and a lot to lose has thought of all of the ways that this can be weaponized against us and is actively taking countermeasures on it.
I mean, it does seem
think
like
of,
there's already a group of
Skynet
scientists.
scenario where like an AI is just like ready to launch every missile on the planet right now. Like that's terrifying.
There is a group of scientists that are like the kind of ethical concern committee.
Oh shit, he
for
got
this stuff. He did get got.
But okay, so you said there's a committee that's
Yeah.
doing this exact thing that I'm worried about.
Yeah, and it seems like at least at first the likes of Google were like, hey, yeah, we should hire these guys and listen to them and stuff. Well, not hire because I guess they don't like.
Yeah,
work for
I also
commission or
hate
anything.
the idea of like the ethical brains behind AI being beholden to a company. That would be scary too.
Oh yeah, but that's also exactly how it's going to be. Everyone's working on their own AI.
Yeah.
All right, I
Warning,
think this guy's
Adam.
gonna go down quick.
Oh god, we just like breathed on him and his health was mostly gone.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, that was real dumb of him.
Oh shit, he's got the red blood.
Is this death?
Or did they all have red blood?
Well, so far they've just been white, like
Yeah, the cum, right?
yeah, the cum stuff coming out, which is just energy.
That's what I thought.
And I, Adam was like, yeah, this is meaningless.
So he had to go
They're
and be
so
more
enamored
human, and
with-
now he's
They're
regretting
so
that
enamored
decision.
with humanity, he had to feel what risking his life felt like. I was like, well, hope it was worth it, buddy.
Yeah, now he knows.
Yeah, he
Sparks,
knows.
he
and now
got to, yeah. Oh man, this has been a fun conversation. I like I said, I like thinking about stuff like this, but the problem with thinking about it by myself for too long is I go to some really dark places with it.
I get you.
Because
And
like,
I'd say-
when I think about like the people who have the most access to this technology, it's not anyone generally speaking that I would trust.
Trust with it. And that's kind of how it works a lot of times. It's like some visionary people. Yeah, sometimes you do have visionaries that like create and they make things, but then generations of their fat kids are like profiting off of that, and they haven't really contributed much to anything other than growing the company.
You've never
Yep.
been gratitude,
Which is like that's when you have people
that
take
I
the means of
mind or
production.
anything.
But
I also have
Yeah.
Well, and that's yeah.
But-
Go on.
Command needs you
It-
to contact them ASAP.
at first, at least, I think it is going to be, well, now I think, okay, that's how capitalism goes, where it's not really the people who are at the forefront thinking about this stuff and inventing it that are going to be the ones benefiting it. It's going to be the people who are bankrolling them.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
probably the
that kinda
people who are
sucks.
willing to abuse it too.
Oh, for sure.
But like we're already seeing companies getting rid of some of their human labor because essentially the AI can do what they do faster and for free.
Or they seem like they could do it, but they're not yet, and the companies are still like, yeah, we'll get there, don't worry about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're jumping I'm sure there's all kinds of unforeseen consequences that we're not paying attention to. Sparks, you know what to do here. Cheap viewers on streambamboo.com or
Watch me
streamboo.com.
through to the commander.
That sounds like Tom Haverford from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
What was the show that he made? Like No Ya Boo?
To be.
Was
Good
that in
job
the future,
destroying
like
that
the
machine.
last episode or
Upon
something,
further
or?
analysis,
Yeah, I think it was one of the
we
later
learned
seasons.
Oh
He would make,
no,
like,
it
a
was when he
game
was
show,
dating
like-
was
Anne.
responsible for
What's that?
managing half of their
It was when he was
entire
dating
network.
Anne.
A
Was it?
disruption of this
No-
magnitude to
no
their
you boo?
network
Yeah,
should
No You
weaken the
Boo.
machine
Mhm.
significantly.
That was a good one. I remember it
What's
made
going to
Andy and
happen to
April
my
fight.
nails?
He'll undergo a full
Oh, yeah.
overhaul up here.
Dude,
Assuming we don't
I-
encounter any
there's
problems,
one show
we're
that,
planning to
you know,
partner
I
him with you
freaking
again.
love
Thank
Parks and
you.
Rec so much. Man, fucking Chris
In the
Pratt.
meantime, I have another mission.
all he had to do was
I've
shut
mailed
up
the
and be,
briefing.
you know,
Go ahead and take a look.
kind of portly,
Understood.
funny guy.
I mean, to be fair, that is the argument that a lot of conservatives say about liberal people. It's like all you had to do was shut up and act.
Yeah,
But yeah, Chris
all you
Pratt,
had to do
damn-
was just keep your tits out and let us see you.
But we liked you. We liked him.
He
He
started
was
talking.
cool.
You know,
He was
but it's
cool,
not even
and
that he
now-
has like a differing like set of opinions or values than I do. It's that he went all in for like Trump, and it's just ugh.
For like craziness, yeah.
All right,
It's,
Again,
it's like when you figure out someone's a Scientologist. It's like what? I thought you
come
were
on,
cool.
I can't support what you do anymore.
Yeah.
Can't be a part of your success.
Part of your world.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Let's see. So what is next? Am I going to the bunker? I think I'm going.
I was
to
going
the
to say
bunker.
things are starting to feel pretty climactic for 2B.
a little bit. Now that I killed Adam, that's gonna piss someone off. And let's see. Why do I have to read what the commander's sending
Why
me?
the hell is this game making me read?
Trends among the machines. Okay, blah blah blah. Do. All right, cool, nice. Behaving oddly. All right. Oh yeah, that's
Analyze
right.
Current trends among the machines. Huh. Something tells me this is going to.
The last thing
involve
I'll
a
say
lot
on like
of
the
killing.
classic games and like state of gaming sort of thing is
Yeah.
right before I started ReFantazio, for some reason
I suppose
got
you
it into
know
my
something.
head. Like I was just kind of going through like my Steam profile and everything when I purchased all these new games. Like,
Yeah.
why have I not like 100%ed Chrono Trigger for the whole world to see? So I did.
Oh sweet.
Like
nice.
I just did a random new game plus, and I got like all the endings and everything, and
Oh,
and so I was
shit.
like, yeah, you know, if I were to die tomorrow, and like someone you inherit my Steam profile to keep for Connor and Michael until they're a little older.
Until
Like
they're of
I want to make
age.
sure that they see
That's what
Chrono
they want.
Trigger was
Why don't they
100%
do
completed by Dad.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Like, I
I
thought he
like
said he
actually
liked
care
Chrono
about my
Trigger.
Steam profile way more than any kind of social media.
I mean, you think about the legacy you leave.
Yeah.
You know.
I was actually planning
Like
to
after I'm gone, I would love for someone to
Maybe we can
inherit
meet
my
up over there?
library, like
Sounds good.
with my username and password, and be like, oh, what were some of Dad's or Grandpa's favorite games, and then just like play them. That would be so cool.
That would be cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, me too. So, anyways, yeah,
Alright.
I completed Chrono Trigger and like plastered it all over my profile.
Sweet. That's awesome. How long
I
does
even
that
did
take to
something
get
like,
every?
which I never do, and like I did the badges for them.
Oh, gotcha. Steam is cool like that. There's a lot of features
It is like if
that
you really get into it. Yeah, there's
lot
some
of
fun
features I
like
don't
social
use.
aspects. So I don't really use them, but I did do the badge for Chrono Trigger, and I had like a little left over, like pocket change from all of my cards to spend. So I did it for FF5 as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I got like the maximum badges for Chrono Trigger and FF5. So I have
Nice.
Specchio level 5, and I have the Golden Chocobo badge.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. Probably
There's
all I'll ever do
apparently
with it,
there's a form of Specchio that most people never see. I think it's wait, is that what you were talking about? Level 5? Oh no, you're talking about the ultimate Specchio.
yeah.
I think it's like if you get there severely underleveled, apparently Specchio's like a little frog or something. I gotta look that up.
Yes, that's correct.
I never. Oh, wait a second. I just reminded myself of something.
Sparks, that's
Sorry.
really sweet to think about. Thank you, Sparks.
The there's a scene, according to YouTube, there's a scene in Final Fantasy VI that I've never seen before, and I didn't know that was possible because that is my favorite
is
game.
it the Ga tuxedo one?
Oh no, I do love that though.
You know, that was one that I never knew was in the game, probably until the GBA remake.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, there was a few scenes that I was like, it wasn't until the Game Boy Advance version I was like, wait, they added this. It's like, no,
No,
it's
it
always
was
been
there.
there.
Yeah.
It's always been there, and
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VI is full of that shit.
It is,
especially
like,
in
if
the world
you
of
take
Ruin.
certain characters into certain scenarios, you
Yeah.
occasionally like get a line of dialogue that slightly changes how you think of it. It's kind of
They
cool.
built so much. I mean, the world of Ruin, especially where it's just like, okay, 50% of it is pretty obvious as far as getting the characters and stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's another 30% that's like not so obvious, but hey, there's a magicite here we left if you look for it, and this shield will turn into a fucking paladin shield if you fight a lot with it or something. And then there's the really secret stuff that's like, hey, go to Thamazo's Shadow and sleep there a bunch. And it's like, okay, I wouldn't have known that shit unless I had a strategy guide, but it adds to the lore.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really cool. So this thing I have to look up. I need to make sure it wasn't just someone making it up. Apparently, it's this small section in Vector before you go to the Cave of the Espers. If you bring somehow, it's like if you bring Sid to your airship, and I don't know how you do that. I have to look that up. But you can bring Sid to the Blackjack.
Wait, what?
and he'll talk about he'll kind of talk about the airship. It's like Final Fantasy VI Sid
No way.
is not the airship like nerd that he typically is in other games.
Right.
He's more about, you know, working for the Empire, doing like genetic shit. But
Yes.
apparently
He's a magicite guy.
He kind of like argues with Setzer about like, oh yeah, I bet I could tune this thing up or something. It's
How
like,
did
wait, what?
I haven't seen this either.
I have never seen. I was like, what? What? Are you serious? So I got to see how you unlock that.
Holy shit.
But it didn't seem like a fake video, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But I was just like, oh my gosh, do I actually get to discover something new in Final Fantasy VI?
That would be
like,
so cool.
That
You
is
know,
all
that's
these
kinda
years
why
later.
hope
I don't
they
believe
do
it.
Just like maybe one more round of remakes for these SNES classics where they do them in like the Octopath style.
Yeah,
Because I would love, you know, like for some of the like the Ultimania lore to be like written into a remake.
oh yeah.
But like I would kill for like a version of FF6 where like you get like a little bit more background on like Kefka and Terra, and that would be so cool.
Maybe like Kefka and Celeste having a weird sibling relationship or
yeah,
something.
like you get those in like flashbacks of some kind, or
I would love that
you
shit.
know, yeah.
That's the part that's like official lore that was not touched upon like hardly at all in the game. That I'm like, I would love that.
Like what I think a lot is lost on a lot of the American audience for these games is like in Japan, like
There we go.
those Ultimania books are canon. You know?
And I love that they you know, the Ultimania book you and Addie got me. That collects like the first 6 of them.
Uh-huh.
Love those things. Oh,
Yeah,
and I
me
need to
too.
get the
It's
other
so cool.
ones. Like, I love it. And there is a line, like the Ultimania for 6 does talk about Kefka and Celeste's relationship, but there is one like old lady in Vector you can only talk
mentions
to
a little
once.
bit about it, yeah.
Who mentions like Kefka, you know, basically, you know, oh, you had the two, what do you call it? You know, magic or not mages, although they basically
Well, they were
are,
like
but,
essentially prototypes for the Magitech infusion, right?
it's like the FF6 version of Soldier.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
and Celeste, well, Kefka was the first one, and it drove him fucking nuts.
Yep.
And
so they rolled the dice with Celeste, and
they rolled the dice with Celeste, and it's, I mean, who knows? You know, Celeste does seem like a broken person, but
yeah,
at the same time, a lot more stable. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
finally made it here. Jeez, I could not find this place for
That's
the life
awesome.
of me, and they wouldn't let me transport for whatever reason.
Dude, you know what the worst offender though is in Square Enix's library for the Ultimania stuff?
8
No,
or
Xenogears.
Oh,
Are you familiar with
I don't know about the
Xenogears,
Xenogears
Perfect Works?
Ultimania. The what? Xenogears what?
Perfect Works?
Nope.
It never came out in America. It's like
Is
a
it like
book,
explain the
like,
whole game?
It's like an encyclopedia of all Xenogears lore. And like if you really want to understand like a lot of what you see snippets of in the game, you pretty much have to read this thing.
Yeah.
And like Xenogears is only one game. They meant for it to be an entire saga, but it's only one game and it has so much freaking lore. And
Yeah.
most of it is like if you dive really deep into the game and you talk to every NPC and read everything, you get some of it, but like a lot of it is exclusive to this book.
Yeah. then there were some games that like included it in the game technically, but it was like FF13 or FF8.
Oh, fuck 13. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say that too.
8 did it too, but 8 was already like a mysterious, ethereal game where you could not read any of the data log, and it was still like, okay, you know, you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
And whatever, like
FF8 just felt different.
it was a game of mystery. It was a
like you
weird
don't want to
game.
think too hard about like who is actually governing this planet, you know? that like 17-year-olds are in the army. Like,
yeah, 17-year-olds in the army. You have a witch being like, "You people disgust me," and they're all like, "Yeah,
yeah." Now
like
she's
Trump.
the president,
right?
Well, we
Oh,
saw
man.
her stab him. I guess that makes her the president. You all saw it. But meanwhile,
think we're
they're
gonna
all
have
like
to-
extremely wealthy. They're driving futuristic cars.
Yeah, it's not that
It
bad.
looks like when you walk around FF8's world, it looks like a utopia until you like actually consider some
Until
of
you
what
like
you're
think
witnessing.
about it for a second. It's just like, why are they making the kids fight?
Why
why
are
are
they
they-
making
I mean-
the teenagers kill each other?
Balam Garden seems so peaceful in the beginning,
Right? Yeah.
And then you
Everything
go to
is
the
so,
basement.
Like, 8
and-
is so weird. Everything's like juxtaposed
it's
between
such-
super idyllic and then, you know,
But I love the fact that, like, from the beginning of the game, they tell you Guardian forces fuck with your memory.
yep.
So when they're like, "Hey, everyone knew each other," it's like, "What? Well."
You know, people were
okay.
really upset about that plot point. I didn't care at all. Like, yeah,
No.
it's a little contrived, I guess.
It's
when you think about
contrived,
it,
but at the same time, it would have been much worse if there was a sequel and then they pulled that shit.
yeah, right.
But right with this, there's like, okay, maybe it's contrived, but they've also been building towards it for the game.
Yeah,
like-
like it's not like unprecedented,
It-
and it's also a Final
didn't just
Fantasy
make it
game.
up.
Like you like, especially everything prior to 12, you really don't want to think too hard about like the rules of the world. You know, you're just in it. You're just seeing this cool story, and it's fun. It's romantic. It's high fantasy. It's
A
not
big
meant
part
to
of
be
it
picked
is
apart to
making
that
things work
degree.
with your strong feelings.
Yeah.
That, hey, we're gonna, if we believe hard enough, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of Final Fantasy went off of vibes.
Yeah, honestly,
Unlike
I
Dragon
think
Quest, which was
12,
like-
but maybe
It's still
10,
here.
but to a greater degree, 12 was really the first one where they really went in depth of like
Appreciated.
how this world works and functions and like the way that society is and everything, and yeah, and then 13, which I have some things to say about that, but like you think about, you know, they kind of tried to do the same thing as 12, where like there's this unjust society where the Lassie have to fulfill their focus or they'll die and blah 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 blah. But like unlike these other games where like there's this kind of lore hidden in the background and you can discover it or not discover it, it doesn't matter because the story itself is kind of self-contained. 13, they expect you to have like the Ultimania content memorized before you even begin the story, because they just drop you right into the middle of it without any context.
Oh,
And
for
what
sure.
context they do give you in the game doesn't help all that much.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think that was on purpose, and at the same
was
time, you
on
don't have
purpose,
to
and
like
I
it
hate
for
them
what
for
it. It's just like, hey, you know what? You're supposed to be confused, and you're supposed to. Well, okay, but you know, this is kind of a lot. If you want me to buy into your world, like,
Uh-huh. And 15 kind of did the same thing, but I'm a little bit more ready to forgive it just because, like, the main story was still self-contained enough where even though there was, like, the movie and the anime series and the book with the real ending and all this other stuff, like, even if you don't read it, you still, at the very least, get a complete story. It's definitely kind of a jumbled story, but it has a start and an end, at least.
yeah.
Whereas 13, I just felt like, again, picked up right in the middle of the story, and then
Yeah,
even the ending
it
is
told
just like,
it the
what?
backwards and
What just
snippets.
happened?
Oh dear.
Well,
Alright, guess we're in
how
Robot
are
Cult.
2B and Pascal gonna get out of this one? I think we're gonna have to find out next time on Play the Hits.
Next time on Play the Hits.
Oh God! Oh, he's
See you
killing me.
next year, Max.
Oh yeah. I'll see you next year, man.
Hey, kids.
Less talk, more running.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll pick up on this next time and kind of maybe finish 2B story. We'll find out.
I'm down to finish 2B's story.
Sweet. All right,
Maybe
man.
it's
We'll see you
not, or
then.
maybe it will not be not to be.
Well,
There was a
Oh,
joke
that is-
in there and I botched it, but you know what I'm
there
trying
is
to
a
say,
joke,
right?
and Yoko Taro, I think, wrote it. But
That's right.
we'll yeah, we'll figure that out next time.
Sweet. See you next time, buddy.
See ya. Ow.
Bitch.